She probably doesn't have the app with the lid.
And I see you guys down below. Hello?
Hello.
Okay. I lost the sound.
Should we be muting after every time we talk, or just kind of try and keep it quiet? What works the best?
It usually works best to mute, especially if you're on a computer every time you talk. If you got a pair of headphones in, you may not need to do that. Really, a lot depends on how loud your volume is too and how much it's going to pick up. I typically mute every time, force a habit.
We're
kind of got to try.
Sorry. How do you mute it?
There should be a microphone looking button somewhere toward the bottom of your screen. You're on an iPad, so I'm not 100%. Just click on it and it'll turn red. And then when you want to come back, click on it again.
Okay. Well, all I see is a live button up at the top.
Go to the bottom and swipe up maybe.
Nope. What's this thing do? That was for a message, to send you a message. I don't see one.
Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it.
I see a microphone on Steve's in the corner. Oh, so is this it? If I just hit that, now am I muted? No, I'm gone.
No, you're still talking.
Okay. I see you now on my screen.
Yep. And now since we've got enough people joined us, we're going to go to active talker mode. So whoever's talking is going to take over the screen.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
So if I push that back, all right.
Just for demonstration.
All
I
right.
see you, Steve. Turn camera.
And I think Cheryl, we're probably okay if you can't mute. It seemed to be working out okay. So
All right.
your room seems pretty quiet, so I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
Bo, I can't tell. Am I on here? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hello, Dave Clark.
Hello. I can't see. Maybe you're not supposed to be able to see yourself, but I can see all of you guys.
Oh, we see you now. Your video's coming through. It should be in the top right corner. You should see a little U with little talkie bars if you talk.
I see it. Okay, got it. Thanks, guys. I usually do this on my phone. This is the first time I'm bringing it up on my laptop, so.
Who's that? Dave.
Seem to be getting any audio from City Hall.
Yeah.
Chris, can you hear me? Wave if you can hear me, Chris. I don't think Chris can hear us either.
Yeah.
It's the mic's got a red with a slash through it on my picture.
Yeah. It looks like Chris is muted.
Yeah, but he still should be able to hear us.
Let me try calling his phone.
I was going to say, if nothing else, he can use the call-in number from a cell phone down there and get audio that way.
I'm not sure if he can hear us or not. At least on mine, it looks like he's got it muted.
Yeah, but I don't think he can even hear us. Oh, my phone's not on mute, though.
Hi, Ted.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Ted.
Cool, Ted's in.
All right. Let me try calling Chris real quick.
All right.
Hey, Chris. Can you hear us? Can you hear us talking at all? Okay. Hey, Bo, he said he can't get the audio to work on his computer.
Okay. Tell him to click on the chat button. I just sent a phone number and a pin. Just get somebody's cell phone out and call in on speakerphone to that number, and they'll get audio that way.
Did you hear what he said? I assume he heard what you said because I think he just hung up on me.
Okay. Give them just a minute. I should see somebody pop in when they do.
So, Bo, on this bottom part down here on my little bar tab down here where I've got the mute and hang up or whatever. So if I hit this, it mutes me, right?
Correct.
Okay. Sounds like we hear. This must be coming from his phone.
Yeah, somebody just called in, ending in 5-1.
That's me. That's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
All right. Doc, I think you're going to have to turn that off. Not happening to my. What happened to our picture now? We had a picture, now we don't.
Well, I can hear you now, so I think that's the most important thing of this, probably. I can see you.
Okay, you can. All right.
Yep.
What the hell?
Apparently, Ted's playing.
I have the foggiest idea why this is doing this.
You click present.
I don't want to present.
I don't know what happened just now.
You're like a foggy mountain.
You're foggy.
Well, it'd be nice if it had an X on the dialogue box.
We got something different. I don't know what happened here.
I think it's too quick. But we can get
I
by
don't know
now.
what happened here either.
I love having it though.
I got just a black screen.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I think just wait. I think Ted took over for a second. He's just got to get out of it in a sec.
I'm trying. I don't know how to get out of it. There's nothing to tell me.
Lower bottom.
It's only 5:45.
It still works.
Ted, it's only 5:45. I got it.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
We haven't started yet. Go on. Thanks, Ted.
Okay, I think you're back.
You just beat my record. Well, you can call in, which is what I'm doing on that, just a call, phone call.
I can't even remember.
So I didn't, but this worked earlier today. I could hear it and everything. I don't know why. Because I did it with my, yeah, I could hear it. And it started doing that feedback thing, and so I turned it off.
I got teeth sitting out there I can't fix because they ain't emergency.
Oh, yeah, look at you.
It's just got to be emergency.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, cities are doing nothing but swallowing.
Yeah.
That's nasty too, thanks. Oh, that'd be bad. That'd be awful.
Well,
I think I was the last
give it
person.
antibiotics.
I was the last person in Wilton to get my teeth done because they closed right after I was there.
I've been getting antibiotics. What's that too? The medical, medicine. Those are the people specialized. I got my mask on, they're sitting for doing nothing.
I carry mine around. Of course, mine is a little classier.
That works.
You know, Iowa State, yeah.
I've got a hawk on it.
So we go ahead, that could be opinion of yours.
I don't know what the heck's going on here, sorry.
Should I start the meeting?
I don't know.
Can anybody hear it?
I can hear you.
I think you guys are good to go if you want to start.
We can hear you. We just can't see you.
Okay.
See anybody?
We don't need to see it.
Call the
Yeah,
meeting to
it'll
order.
work.
Can you hear us? They hear us?
I think it's on. We're all right.
When you go roll call, I just.
Do roll calls. Doc. Here. Wayne.
Yes.
Cheryl.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Ted.
Yes.
That's it. That's everybody. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United
States
of America.
Republic,
Which it stands,
One nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
free and justice.
liberty and justice.
Hey,
They're right behind. No, they were just, it was just like behind.
Yeah.
We were waiting.
I had video at first, but now it's only my avatar.
Yeah, mine says Ted is presenting.
Oh, well, how'd I pull that off?
You're out of order.
Yeah, out of order. Okay, you need a motion to approve and or amend the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we'll vote. We'll go Wayne,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Doc, Steve,
Yes.
Ted.
Yes.
Okay, now I need a motion to approve and or amend the minutes from 3/23/20, including also there was a special business session, closed session. Motion?
So moved.
There's Cheryl. Cheryl, second? Second. Okay, we'll vote on Wayne.
Yes.
Doc. Yes. Cheryl. Cheryl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Yes, give me a yes on that.
Where'd you go? The toilet, Ted? Where were you?
My wife's watching a movie in the other room. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, stop watching the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing,
We just had one, and Dan wanted to express his displeasure with the protesters out here. Been out here, I guess, most for better than a couple of weeks, I think. They've been over in Grant too. So he was asking if the city could do anything about it, and from everything I checked on, as long as they're not impeding in the flow of traffic or pedestrian traffic, there's really nothing we can do about it. They can kick them off private property, but not off of public. Right.
They've been back?
Oh yeah, they've been
last couple of weeks.
down here about almost every day. this
What
week.
time of day?
They were doing the.
Yeah.
Well,
Go to lunch.
I break my day off. I'm
And you
not
need
gonna
to
see.
tell them they don't have.
Well,
Dan Owen actually put a speaker outside his
Right.
business and put on AC/DC. Which
Right.
is a great,
Yeah.
great tune. Highway to Hell was playing. And the police came and told him he had to shut it off.
Yeah.
He says, well, I'm not any louder than that son of a gun.
Well, the problem was that, so we've told the protesters they can't use a bullhorn because unless there's an event where there's amplified sound, they can't use amplified sound. So when Dan turned the stereo on, they got their bullhorn out. So the problem with that, of course, is that then you got a competition between the two, and you have to treat them equally. Well, Dan is not engaging in a constitutionally protected speech, but they are. So Dan's in the wrong, they're not. And that's the problem with that particular situation.
Well, are they just amping this up, hoping to get a lawsuit established? I mean, why are they doing it? Why are they doing it more than they used to?
I don't know, but that's obviously that's their ploy is to get attention, and the more attention they get, the more they're going to show up.
There's nobody downtown now anyway, so I don't know who they're.
Well, I think they stand over there in the corner over by Wilton Realty, and then people go in and out of Jeff's. They can talk.
Well, I think evidently they're like a lot of people should be home with a mask on.
Yeah, probably.
But, maybe I have to give them more time. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn this over to the Mayor Association, I'm gonna send it out tomorrow, what other towns have done.
Right.
I'll do that. If you do that with your group.
Yeah,
I
have, and in fact, I talked in person to the city administrator from Iowa City who deals with this all the time. He had the same view. As long as they're on a public right of way and they're not impeding anybody's progress, either pedestrian or vehicle traffic, it's protected speech, and there's not much you can do about it.
Could we throw this out to the League of Cities too? Just say, okay, what is there? If there is something out there, I'd like to know it. If there isn't, then
Well,
fine.
the one thing I want to caution everybody about is if you're going to try to restrict the place or way somebody speaks, then it's going to be the same for everybody.
Mhm.
So if you want to come out and protest Nancy Pelosi or Donald Trump or anything else, then the same thing applies. So everything has to be equal. So if we want to enact an ordinance that says you have to have a permit to protest,
No, actually, Chris, that's political speech. What's going on now is a nuisance and an annoyance. It's like yelling fire in the theater.
it's religious speech. That's protected. So no, it's not. I mean, it's
free in schools.
it's freedom of speech. It's freedom of religion. It's freedom of assembly. It's the trifecta of the First Amendment. So it's protected speech, and everybody I talked to today said the same thing. If you have a small group, it's just a handful of people, and they're protesting. You really, as long as they're not impeding anybody or being confrontational, and there's some gray area there on confrontation.
Some people are going to go to hell. Is that controversial?
I don't know. It might be controversial, but it's not confrontational. You don't, they're not, as long as they don't get in your face and yell in your face, then that's not controversial. If you're walking by and they say you're going to hell, that's protected speech.
I just don't want, at this period in time, for them to be getting in somebody's face.
Right.
From the standpoint of, we're trying to keep the distancing, but
Right.
I could see them getting in somebody's face. But on the other hand, they know more than we do of what they can and what they can't do, and that's what they're trying to do.
I've never seen them move from where they're at. I think if somebody probably approached them, they stay. I mean, he stays right there with his kids. I mean, have you ever seen a kid? I've never.
Yeah, they want to be, and that's the thing.
They've got, with all their little cameras that they got going, they've got a lawsuit for whoever. So,
right.
Well, and I think that, like I say, they know exactly what they can do and what they can't. Like you said, the whole family that runs that is all attorneys. They're many steps ahead of us. And,
Yeah.
the thing is, we just got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
And we got to ask questions and find that out. And I think it's good if we have the knowledge, what we can and cannot do. We can help the public as well, so they don't get into trouble.
Certainly.
People have been silent messages.
And
signals.
And they're wearing cameras. I mean, they have cameras, and they know what they're doing. And I really do think the best thing to do is just ignore them and don't worry about it.
I'd be reluctant to put anything in print. I mean, it's something in the newspaper would be the worst thing we could do.
Dan, because
But he doesn't.
but the sidewalk is a completely different deal.
Right. And they can't impede anybody from going in. I know in the case in Iowa City, the Emma Goldman Clinic, which is a women's health clinic, I know some protesters were cited out there because they were blocking the sidewalk and trying to intimidate them, keep them from going in the building, and that they cannot do.
Have any of the other council people heard anything about this or had any discussion from citizens?
Just what I've seen on Facebook.
That does not.
Durand does not have an ordinance.
The only one I've heard from was Dan, and Dan was kind of annoyed with it because it's outside of his door every day.
Right.
He talked to me about this. In fact, I told him to call Chris.
Yeah, we talked about it too.
Right.
Dave, I'm wondering maybe if the next time they're out there, if maybe you can ask them politely if they wouldn't mind moving over on the corner by City Hall here. He was. I don't know if he still is now. I can talk to Dave tomorrow about it, though.
Okay. And move on that.
I had the same thing. I talked to Dan. Dan talked to he thought, in his mind, he thought that Durant and
Yes, he did.
Muscatine had an ordinance, and he said, I said, well, they've got an ordinance and it's working. You
Some cities have ordinances, but they are on large group assemblies, from what I understand. So do the same thing, like if the chamber wants to block off the street and do an event, it's the same process. And you can't differentiate. You can't more onerous for protesters and less onerous for, say, the chamber.
Are they within 6 feet of each other?
Well, I think it's a family, so I don't know that works either.
It is a family.
So, but they shouldn't be impeding anybody else. That is, they shouldn't be getting in anybody else's space. I'll talk to Dave about that too.
And I'll talk to the mayors and I'll get something doing on that.
What about it discouraging business like to Jeff's Market? Does we have a leg there at all?
He's still on the public sidewalk, Steve.
Oh, okay.
And I
But
don't
it
think
affects their business.
What are you in tonight? They've looked it all up. They've had other people tell them what to do and how to do it.
Just a reminder, you guys, we are streaming on YouTube. We're streaming the meeting tonight, so okay, so you guys know. Okay. I would imagine they can see. That's what they've seen on YouTube too.
That ought to keep them going. COVID-19's got everybody from board. They're looking at a blank screen and looking at a podcast.
Any other thing that we know of on the citizen?
I didn't see anything on Facebook, and I didn't see any other emails either.
Becky didn't give
Was Becky on here?
I haven't heard from her.
Becky talked to me on Monday, and Dan only had got a hold of her, and he had a client that was looking for 10 acres. It was industrial business or something, but wouldn't tell us what it was. But they were looking for 10 acres, which we have 10 acres out there. And so we put it in 6 an acre because he gives commission in on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But that very primary, and so I don't know what it is. Dan had just said he had somebody interested. So there's been no meetings with anybody about it.
And I think they had an offer on
There's an offer on the house that we built, the model home.
Yes.
Down there. There's an offer on that, and that's proceeding to roll Iowa 360 with them.
When you say an offer, is it something they negotiate, or is it?
360 is negotiated with them a little bit to come off their price a little bit, so the person who was available for so much credit could still get that because it was just a hair out of their reach.
Okay.
So they came off about 5,000.
Owning the building and the land, that's industrial development in the city.
No, the Industrial Development Corporation.
But so, with that negotiation would be with you guys, if there was any room, you're basically break even.
Well, what we had also talked about was that they originally had put in like 30 to 50 feet for hooking up the sewer. Well, now that we put it in an easement there on, in between, and then that is at 8 foot instead of 13. That doesn't, so we've talked to Chris and we said maybe Rhode Island 360 and us would go half and half to get that 130 feet, half of that, and come in so it doesn't go against.
Sure.
It's no big deal for us if we had to.
Right.
That saves some money.
Yep.
Well, we're trying to keep it as, you know, this person that has made the offer is a girl that is, I think has, I don't know if she's married, single, but I think she might have a child. I think she might be divorced, and so she's trying to buy a house that's nice, but, so I think that's, and it kind of fits into the people that we're looking at, making available that type of housing.
Sure.
And then there's 2 offers on the other 2 lots, corner lots. So all 4 of those corner lots should be maybe sold, you know, not sold yet, that have been spoken about. And so they're going through legal and everything else. Not all the things Becky would brought up.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's part of the thing as far as the mayor things. I was going to say, you know, we had a lot of good things in the air. Maybe check to see where they're going. But I can talk that on the mayor's thing when we get back from the assembly. We got to change it.
Yeah, you do.
Legal items, I don't know of any, do you? Is there correspondence in either?
I don't think we have anything with our kids. No.
I did have a resignation from the Board of Adjustment. Dick said that he's going to retire, so he's going to retire. You know.
And he said that would be effective when we found the report. You would stay on.
Okay.
Okay.
Dick is, he's been on a long time. So. But I've got a couple ideas I'll bring to it, but we need to go through the resignation. So, make a motion to accept with regrets.
So moved.
Second.
Vote on it. Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheryl.
Yes.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
Okie dokie. Moving along. Other things as far as mayor items, just wondering about these projects. So we don't lose track, and I realize we're in very with what's going on in the world and locally and so forth, but we have some very good things going before this all takes off. The 38 project. Where are we at on that?
That's going to continue, but we're moving it back a month because we had some meetings set for that. And since there was no time crunch on it, we decided to move it back a month. MSA is going to do some groundwork on their own, just getting maps together and things like that. So they're going to try to get their ducks in a row so the time isn't wasted. So when we start those meetings, we're supposed to have them in April. Obviously, we're going to move them back to May and start them then.
Apartment building. History.
The last I heard from them, they were putting together an application for the Iowa Finance Authority, and I sent them the paperwork putting together an application for rezoning of the lot. I have not seen the paperwork returned to me.
Maybe if we could, before the kind of broad these things,
yeah, I'm not sure where that's at.
We have had no second meeting from the first investor meeting, which was last November.
Yeah.
So there's been, and I don't have any food on when we're going to have that. We'd like to have another meeting with investors because we only have one bank. Investors. There's 3 people there.
both investors. We had a single family house. The rec center. Anything new on that, Blake? Ted?
Yes. Say that again.
Anything new on the rec center?
Have not heard anything new on the rec center from anybody, anywhere, anyplace, anytime since the last thing, where we kind of had an insufficient budgetary figure put together for us.
But I know they went back to look at it differently. They haven't come back yet with a number?
I have not heard anything. I would have assumed that probably Chris would have been the point on that, I would have thought, but I think the gentleman from the Y, Brad, and they were going to revisit Point Builders to see if they could get better information out of them, but no. With all this self-quarantining going on, things have really slowed way down.
If I see Tim Anderson, I'll ask him. He's the guy in Davenport. No, I'm asking him. He lives in town here. See if they got anything.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to bring up was the census that's going on now. Well, I know people going on getting it done. Oh, you didn't?
Oh, I know, I had no problem at all. I got on and,
Takes about 5 seconds.
yeah.
Yeah, I just heard some problems with it. Now they should be mailing them out.
Yeah. If you have not answered, they're very one out.
One way or the other, you certainly get the
Yeah, I'll put out a reminder on our page too. That's a good idea.
I guess that's pretty well it from my end. Council items, retirement note. Is there a note on that? So we said 2001?
We just changed the date from 2020 to 2021.
No, we said no.
Lori moved it back a month because of the kind of confusion and the problem.
He's graciously excited to help me. Very much so.
The other thing, if you could kind of go over our staffing, what we're doing, so we have protection.
Sure, I think that's that's a fact. I can visit about all that.
Okay.
We got that on the agenda.
Thank you, Lori.
I just want to have it. She had it in.
We just working on it. We have to do it.
Now you're going to have to fill Ken on how to take care of me.
Got a lot of notes.
It's kind of like spoon feeding.
Yeah, Matt's been with us for a while now, and
I can write with that.
He's done a really good job for us, and his salary, what is it, $18 right now? Is that? Yeah. And we'd like to move him to 90%, and that's the 19 or something. And he's, generally speaking, we move him up early, and this would be a little early for Matt. He started working in the wastewater plant, and he's also started studying for his certification.
He's a hustler in the garbage truck. And,
yep.
They see him out doing. I think he keeps them down at the.
Yeah.
No, he does. I think it's been really a good addition.
Ted, can you mute?
What's that?
I keep hearing Ted over the rest of you guys. Whatever he's got running in the background.
He's probably sitting he's already got another live stream.
Ted's watching that dang movie is what he's doing.
No, I don't have anything running, Steve. It's all.
Oh, okay. Well, I can just see the volume deal moving on your screen.
Yeah, I can too.
I'll make a motion that we say, man,
I'm back.
$19 and what was it?
1907.
1907.
Up to 90% early.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good idea. There's a second. Second.
I second it.
Aha.
Okay.
Got three of them.
Yep.
Good. All right, we'll vote on it. Steve?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Wayne and Doc?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, next.
Well, I appreciate that. I know Matt.
He's gonna agree with
Yeah, I think he is then too. Okay.
What do people want to need to do?
you. Betcha.
We have staffing. Yeah, there's no pass. So, paid during the COVID-19 thing. So we have several things going on right now, and I just wanted some clarification from you guys on exactly how to handle a few things. So what we're doing is we're doing a split shift with, well, most of the staff, the office staff, just two people here. There's one person at home all the time. And it works out because Liz has kids at home, so it works out a little better that she just comes in a day or two and does the bills and writes checks and stuff like that she's responsible for. So, and when she comes in, one of these two is not. So we don't have everybody in the office at one time. And then down at Public Works, we have a split shift. So we have roughly half the people are at home on 1 week, and the other half are at home on the following week. At the library, they have been home for a little over a week, well, almost 2 weeks now, because they had somebody that got exposed up there. So they're I think they came back on Friday. They started back in the or maybe today, I don't remember. And they're proposing, they're putting together a proposal to do curbside pickup for the libraries. Of course, the governor closed the libraries. So the question is, how do we, because we're not staffed at a 100% level now. What we've told our Public Works and girls in the office and so forth is that if you're at home, you're on the clock. That is, if you want to go to Davenport or do whatever, you need to take vacation. When you're at home, you're on call. So when you're on call, you'll get paid, obviously. And that's how we've been doing it so far, until we get to this council meeting, and then we just like a little direction from you guys exactly what you want to do for paying these folks. They're essentially we're paying them to stay home. And then for the part-timers, you know, like for instance, Karen's been home for a couple of weeks. We've been paying her for that. You know, do we continue to pay them, or do we pay them at a 2/3 rate, which is what you can do from the new legislation that came down from the federal government. You could pay them 2/3 rate if they're being asked to stay home, or we could furlough them and they could go apply for unemployment. So I guess I'm just looking for some direction. What do you guys feel is the right thing to do there?
I guess a length of time is kind of a good question to ask. I mean, we don't really have that. I mean, if we knew the length of time, if it's only going to cost us a month, why mess with it? Just keep it how it is. If it's going to be 3 months, well, then maybe we got to do something different. You know, I don't think it's a bad deal to pay them. I mean, they didn't ask for it. I mean, you know, if they want to work, are they able to work? I mean, are we telling them that they have to go home? Because if we are, then I think we have to pay them.
That's a good point, though.
I agree with you. I think the time makes a big difference. The other thing is, will there be, or is there federal dollars that we can be claiming? I think there is.
Not for us.
Not for a municipality, I don't think.
No.
Private business, yes.
There's been some discussion. But of course, the state legislature is not in session either. They're out too. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been some kind of back alley discussion that maybe there'll be some backfill from the state or maybe from the federal government, but there's been nothing proposed or concrete about it. And there are some dollars from the federal government, but it's for cities over a certain amount. and I think it's a huge number. I want to say it's out. I think there are only a few towns in a few cities in Iowa that even qualified for that.
Yeah.
Like Cedar Rapids and Waterloo. I don't think Iowa City qualified. So.
Well, Chris, with the size of our department, I mean, don't you expect that the workload is going to kind of at some point in the next month or so is going to overload us, and up to the point where maybe they could do the lawn mowing and some of that stuff where you're kind of on your own and you're not on a team, you're not, you're away from everybody. Maybe that would be some options. I know, but as of right now, maybe keep them split up until we either get further into the year or I guess my point is it's all tax money in some shape or form. And if at some point later we can retrieve the tax money from the federal government, which doesn't sound like we can, maybe we should just, use our money that we have budgeted to keep our guys happy and working and not, suffering because of this situation, and hopefully retrieve it down the road somewhere.
I agree with you, Steve. I think for our full-time employees, our full-time employees are essential workers, and I think you're exactly right. And I guess that's up to the council to decide what to do with them. But the second question then is what to do with our part-timers. Do we continue to pay them? Do we furlough them, or do we pay them at some sort of reduced rate? And just for one other thing there, they put a hold on tax collections, property tax collections. I'm assuming the sales tax collections are going to be way down, and I also assume the gas tax collections are going to be way down. So while we do have a certain budget for expenses, we also have a budget for revenues, and those revenues I would not count on those revenues meeting what we're expecting. And then if they backfill that, I would expect them to backfill the property tax, but probably nothing else.
So that's one thing I want to talk about. Our finances make certain the citizens know we're in good shape.
Yes, I mean our balances are very good. Yes,
going into this, but you're absolutely right. In fact, read they're predicting bankruptcies from cities and municipalities, result of this that do not have the backup that we do.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be some tough times.
You mean like the state of Illinois?
Yeah. They're a little chubby. Anyway,
I think I would say, why don't we just keep doing this, what we do for the next month, and just see how things, if it starts opening back up, then we bring them back. We're going to bring them back anyway. So
my idea on it is I'm for continuing the salaries as of right now, but I'd like them to agree to the fact that if we need somebody to come in or to do weeds at the center, or to do weeds at the park, or get the park ready for, well, there aren't going to be tournaments, but I mean, there's jobs that can be done, and it might not be an hourly basis, but I think they should be willing to come in if we call them, if we're going to continue to pay them their salary,
I want to see Liz and Lori.
Well, now Liz is by the record. She's with kids at home. If her daycare isn't taken, she can legally stay home.
Yeah, she's got 10 weeks. She can stay home.
Yeah. But I think she's the only one that fit the parameters.
Well, we've got a couple other workers, Matt Wagaman and Bob Van Dusen, who have kids that certainly could take that time as well if they needed to.
Well, but there's nothing to do like running a lawnmower and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think when they do that, when they have that, I can't remember how that is so damn confusing. Excuse me. This is on YouTube. What is it? If your child care or whatever, is that when they take unemployment that it fills in and whatever? Can they do that with? Does that give them the option of home and we take
the legislation that was passed for this COVID gives everybody an additional 10 weeks of FMLA, family medical leave, and the legislation, well, before, if you were over 50 employees, or if you were under 50 employees, you were exempt. They did not exempt anybody from this.
But when FMLA losing a care provider, there's other care providers than just the one they lost.
Yes,
So, just saying that as an example.
yeah,
There's other care providers, so we don't want to say, no, this is the one I want, so I'm going to stay home to.
right, right. Well, I mean, the way it sounds, the Department of Labor is being very liberal with how they're interpreting this.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
So, the other side of that is, if they stay home for 10 weeks, you can pay them at a 2/3 rate up to a certain dollar amount. I forget what it is per week. But
Really, I look at it too. You'll know if someone is taking advantage of it.
right,
We'll handle that as it comes.
right,
If not, we're fine.
yeah,
And I think we're gonna see at least a little more clarity in the future in the next week or two. If they're gonna start trying to open it up in May, you're gonna see a lot of different stuff coming down from the federal government and directives and the state government for directives.
Well, a lot of people, I mean, I've tried to talk to the people as far as for getting the loans and stuff like that. The bankers don't even, I mean, they just tell you come back later. We don't know ourselves how to, so.
And I almost guarantee some things will be open up at the end of the month. Have you ever seen women go a month out getting a haircut or their hair done? It will be opening up. There'll be a lot of mean women around.
I would guess those are going to be one of the last ones to open up.
I would too.
Them in the schools, those kind of businesses in the schools are going to be.
I need a haircut too.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I don't know what you're saying, but they said like the 88%, you're gonna find out the 88% that aren't true blondes. I just,
Yeah. You're gonna have a lot of left on. I saw that too.
My take on this, and I don't know if you need a motion, but I'd just as soon keep the salaries.
I would like a motion just so when the auditors come around, they go, okay.
Why don't we revisit it, let's say the first meeting in May?
yeah, I'd say I'll make a motion, we stay the same as we've been doing for the last couple of weeks, whenever
Like
it
on the
is.
part.
I'll second that.
The first meeting in May.
And then revisit it.
Okay.
First meeting.
I'll second that, but I want them to know, like I say, that part of that is contingent upon being ready to help if we need it.
Absolutely.
It's not vacation.
It's not vacation, yeah.
They'll
And in
take
fact-
vacation to charge them vacation.
And in fact, we had, our safety meetings have now gone to webinars. And I was just talking to Bobby today about this, the guys, and they're going to record them. And I said, well, there's something they can do on the week when they're at home. They can watch the safety webinar. So we certainly could have tasks for them to do on those.
Well, and there's other
Because we're still paying them. They're still on the clock.
Why not look at some of our manuals that are completely out of touch, the personnel manual, the different things. Why can't they be sitting updating this stuff?
Yep. That's a good point.
Some of our standard operating procedures, the washing trucks, waxing trucks.
I'll bring mine up. Car wash hasn't been open for a while.
All right.
I kinda got.
So do we, I'm sorry, do we get a
I
motion?
second it.
Okay. I didn't know if we got a motion or second.
We just got a vote,
Okay.
and we're going to start off with Ted.
Ted, you forgot to unmute.
Ted.
He has some mute.
Well, he mutes his
Oh.
thing.
Well, then we'll go to Cheryl.
Yes.
Now we'll go back to Ted.
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Wayne, and Don.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. I know the employees appreciate that.
It's not a problem. It's a wholly different world than we've ever been used to, so I certainly understand. Okay. How about council items?
That was council item. So did you want to go around the council? Got anything or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was asking the councilman if they have something.
I don't have anything at this time.
The Freedom Rock landscaping should start sometime next week. I talked to Rodney today, and he's getting a few small projects out of the way. So I think once he gets that spiked and going, we'll show an uptick in interest in the engraved pavers.
Good.
We're up to about 170 pavers now. Only 830 to go.
It's better than 900. Okay, anything else, Councilman?
I think we should give a shout out to the public. The town's done a wonderful job. I mean, between, the kids parade they've had, and social distancing has been real good. If anything, I'd like people to maybe talk to the younger people in town, because we've all been there before. But, we could have, if you could have put people in cars and around, it would make me feel comfortable.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That people making masks.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I've actually more people walking. I've never seen walking before.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
as bad as this whole thing has been. There's been a lot of good things come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So. And just kind of keep an eye on that semi up there. I don't know what it's there for.
Got furniture in it.
Is it? Okay, well, I was just
able to move it into Charlie Norton's old house.
Well, that's fine. I just didn't know, it's just been sitting there, and I didn't want to get something started.
I visited with the neighbor next to him.
All right.
About it. He says, it doesn't bother me that much. He says that they've evidently doing something with the house a little bit.
I think they've been refurbishing the whole thing.
So the furniture that they've got is sitting in that thing.
Okay.
What's the address of that?
It's on Rose and Mauer right there.
Or Mauer and Summit, just to the south of Mauer and Summit. And I'm not, if there's a reason for it, I just didn't want to get started having people.
No, he said that he talked to the neighbors and they said, well, we've got our furniture in there. He said, oh, okay. Yeah. And they're just waiting to get stuff done before they move it in and get it taken out.
It doesn't have a cab on it.
Are you talking about that truck trailer on up there?
Mauer.
That big semi trailers that we're talking about here?
Yeah.
Yes, Dave.
Yeah, that's actually, we stopped and talked to them already. Everything is unloaded in that. They're just waiting for the company to come pick it up. It was supposed to have been picked up and gone today. And council, just as an update, the 2020 Tahoe is in. I've had it for about a month now. The upfit is completely done. I've been waiting on hail printing. They're only doing, they were shut down for a while, back for a little while. They ordered in our vinyl. They're getting it cut. And hopefully sometime this week it'll go in for the stripes. But other than that car will be done and on the road.
Very good, Dave. Who gets that car, Dave? Is that yours?
That one's mine, yep. So I've got the 20. Johnson's got the 19. Another update on Bob Dearmore. He graduated basic training April 9th. He's kind of up in the air. There was some talk that he might get to come home because the military's they've locked down Fort Jackson. His basic training graduation was streamed via live streamed, but there was nobody allowed on base, so his family was unable to come to that. So it was a graduation ceremony to an empty hall. But because he's National Guard, there has been some talk that they are regulating the size of classes for the AIT. So he may actually get to come home, or it's going to extend his time away from us for up to 5 to 8 weeks. So he's kind of in a limbo right now. He's actually a holdover at Fort Jackson. He's done. He just doesn't know if he gets to come home or he's got to go to Arizona.
Thanks, Dave.
All right.
Administrative items.
I've got just a few things we had some questions on recycling. We're currently throwing recycling away. Our guys typically hand sort all those recyclables, and with the virus going on, and of course recycling prices aren't worth crap. So it was a lot of work and risk for virtually no gain. So we're now throwing recycling away in the garbage truck, except for cardboard. We have a truck driving around just picking up bulk cardboard, and I've told them not to rummage around looking for the cardboard either. If it's sitting there, it's easily acceptable. They grab the cardboard, they throw in the truck, and they move on. the cardboard and paper actually offers the least amount of risk. The problem with paper is it's mixed in with the other things, and they don't want to do the sorting for that, and the cardboard's easier to grab. So we have not, we haven't changed anything. So if people continue to recycle, and we want them to continue to recycle and put their stuff in their bins, and we'll take care of it. So if somebody's got a bin full of recycling, we're just going to throw it away. But in a month from now, if we start recycling again, we don't want people to get out of the habit of recycling. So we're just going to continue to take it. And the other part of it is, you know, if they quit recycling and then now their garbage can's overfull and they got to pay extra for the garbage bags, then we don't want to do that either, because we don't feel like that's fair either. You know, if they're doing their part, then we want to try to encourage that, and we hope it doesn't last forever. So, but right now we're throwing recycling away except for cardboard. But we want people to continue to separate their recycling out and put it out by the curb, like as if we were still doing it. The parks, of course, we were going to hire somebody this spring for the parks. In fact, we had interviews lined up when this thing's kind of got going here. So we put that on hold. All the people that we had lined up for interviews had jobs already, so we didn't feel like we were causing a problem by not hiring them on at this time. So we got that on hold until we get out of this lockdown situation, and then we'll interview those folks and get somebody hired for the parks when we go back to, you know, full staffing. And as you guys said, you know, we got people that are going to be split shifting, so we can grab guys off that split shift and have them go mow on their week when they're not doing garbage route.
That's going to be coming.
Yeah. So
We still have the 2 mowers.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So we've got 2 mowers. One is principally the sewer and water department uses that one, and then we have the other one for the parks, and then we use the batwing mower for parks as well. So, and that'll get ramped up here very shortly. And if, you know, throw out the shout out for any volunteers who want to rake leaves around the baseball field and the ball diamonds. Sure. I know there's a lot of leaves out there. That wasn't really just for you, Cheryl. It's for everybody. The stormwater project is proceeding. We're looking to bid that probably it was going to bid in May, but it's probably going to be pushed back to June now. But we're going to do it in the fall anyway. The stormwater SR project out in our industrial park. We have to finalize a land swap between Triple B and the WDC, and the WDC and Triple B are negotiating a land swap. When they get that done, it's kind of a 3-way deal, because they're going to swap the land, but the WDC is then going to give the land to the city. So we'll be able to maintain the stormwater project there, and it'll be it doesn't make any sense for them to own it, because we're the ones going to be doing the maintenance on it. So we're working on that. The other thing I wanted to bring up was we're currently, as many cities are, we're not shutting off services for people who are late on their payments for utilities. We would ask that if they can't pay their entire bill, that they call us up and they set up some sort of plan. The problem with these kind of situations is, you know, you get a month behind and then you get another month behind, and it gets to be such a hole that you can't dig out of at that point. And we don't want people to get in that situation. So we're just asking them that they call City Hall, and we'll set up a payment plan and try to help them out the best we can.
But you know, we're not going to be foreclosing on that or going after that. The thing is that whatever they owe us is still there.
Yes.
And it'll go on from month to month.
Right.
You know, it's best if you just keep current with your.
Right. And we know the stimulus checks are coming, and people will have bills to pay with that. And we just want to let them know that the city's here to help, and we want them to call in and make sure that they make arrangements for their utilities. If we don't hear from them, then we don't even know if there's anybody in the place. And you know, we'll certainly contact them at that point and see if we're going to shut it off, because if there's nobody in the apartment, we want it shut off, or if there's nobody in the house, we want it shut off. so we don't have a leak and destroy something. So, but we really want folks to keep in contact with us and make sure that we're all on the same page there.
And what are we thinking, not that this is a point to do this, but for the people, the landowners for apartments, at some point having the responsibility for the utilities?
Well, they ultimately, they do in a kind of a roundabout way. So if somebody basically skips town, and then they can be on the hook for the utilities that are missed. So it's a possibility. We can also send them to the, what do you call it? Offset, which, when they get a tax return, we get that money. So we do the offset program as well. And I believe that's all I have.
Okay.
Finally.
Lori, anything?
No.
If not, yes.
I just had one question. Something I thought of when I seen Artie's new little patio. If the older folks housing goes in out there, just north or west of Dock, won't they need a sidewalk to get to the ice cream store with their hover rounds? Just something to think about. That's all I have.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
Going up in out west.
That's a good note to end on there, but something to think about.
Yep, it is.
Where's that at? Going in?
Across from, the bank.
The bank.
Yeah, so,
Oh, okay.
Subway. All right, nothing else? We're adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Adios.
Sorry for the difficulties.
Oh, no.
Okay, Cheryl.
Hey, Chris, are you still there?
I don't
Go
know.
away or do something?
I didn't do anything. I think it was Wayne. Or not Wayne, Ted.
You could take down the whole thing?
Yeah, I think Ted tried to present. I think next time just close that and reopen, and it would have been okay. But kind of new for me too, so I'm going on the fly.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Oh, I had to shut mine down and turn it back on because it all of a sudden kicked me off and nothing worked.
Okay.
Yeah, I
well,
think it's when Ted hit that present button. We'll have to hide that from him next time.
all right, sounds good.
So,
All right. Goodbye, guys. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Have a good night.